Welcome back to my channel.
Stop the tape right there.
Look at the timestamp. Now look at Logan's hand. Do you see it? Most people don't, because they're too busy watching the chaos in the background or the latest meltdown from Robin. But if you really zoom in, the truth jumps out. The discoloration, the stiffness in the arm, the subtle way he keeps it pinned to his side like he's guarding an injury. Now skip forward 2 scenes. Look at Kody. Look at the puffiness around his eyes. Not allergies, not exhaustion, but the unmistakable aftermath of something explosive. Something that happened inside a 72-hour window that TLC has quietly, methodically, and aggressively erased from the archives. We call it the blackout. For over a decade, we've watched this family crumble, and we've been spoon-fed explanations. Catfishing, COVID protocols, personality clashes. But what if the true fracture, the moment the Brown family spiritually died, happened years earlier, off camera, and was so volatile that TLC's own lawyers stepped in and locked the footage behind legal walls? Because the whispers, the deep web forum leaks, the anonymous crew members from the Vegas era, they all point to one thing: a fight. Not a spat. Not a shouting match. Not an awkward interview moment. A physical altercation that changed the entire hierarchy of the Brown family. And according to the most disturbing theory, Logan Brown didn't just move out for college. Logan Brown was evacuated. Before we open this redacted file and dissect the secret history of the Vegas cul-de-sac, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to SisterWives Crew, the only channel brave enough to analyze the deleted footage and expose the dots TLC desperately wants to keep unconnected. Turn on notifications. Let's begin the investigation. To understand the blackout, you have to understand the pressure cooker that was the early Vegas era. You have to psychologically profile the 2 combatants in this silent Cold War, Kody Brown and Logan Brown. On the surface, Logan was always the responsible one, the surrogate father who woke up the kids, cooked breakfast, and drove everyone to school while Kody was circulating between houses, or more accurately, spending his mornings at Robin's. But look deeper. Go back to the early seasons. Watch Kody's body language around Logan. It isn't admiration. It isn't paternal pride. It is the exhaustion of an insecure alpha who sees a challenger. Kody thrives on chaos. Logan embodied order. And in a narcissistic family system, the bringer of order is the most dangerous threat to the creator of chaos. We've analyzed hours of background audio, B-roll, and confessionals leading up to Logan leaving for UNLV. The official line? Logan wanted the full college experience.
Right.
Logan, the most parentified child in reality TV history, suddenly wants freedom? Suddenly wants distance from the siblings he practically raised? Suddenly stops filming? That's not a preference. That's a trauma response. The tension started building 3 months before his move. There are clips, subtle moments, where Kody makes a joke at Logan's expense. And Logan doesn't laugh. He doesn't smile. He stares. It is the stare of someone saying, "I see you." Then there's the infamous deleted scene, referenced only in lost production logs. A kitchen confrontation. The log line reads, Kody and Logan discuss budget. Conversation heated.
Audio unusable.
In reality television, audio unusable is code for, this would get us sued. This was the spark. Kody had been funneling resources away from Janelle's household. Logan, who practically ran that home, stepped in, not as a child, as the man of the house demanding accountability. Imagine a narcissist like Kody being told no by his son, on camera, in front of crew. This leads us to the missing 72 hours. Production logs normally show 6 days of filming, but the week Logan moved out, a 3-day dark period.
No confessionals.
No B-roll.
No filming.
Nothing. When the cameras resumed, everything had changed. Janelle looked hollow. Christine was on edge. Kody avoided eye contact with his son. And Logan, once the glue of the family, had emotionally checked out. Something happened in those 72 hours. Something TLC buried. Kody looked manic, his eyes darting like a cornered animal, his speech firing off in rapid fragments, as if he were trying to rewrite the previous 72 hours before the cameras could catch up to him. And Logan. Logan didn't look angry. He didn't look rebellious. He looked done. He had the posture of a soldier who had survived a skirmish he never wanted to fight, waiting for the extraction helicopter that would take him away from the battlefield forever. Let's reconstruct the timeline of what actually happened that night. We only have fragments, inconsistencies, and the shadows left behind, but if you piece them together, the picture that emerges is explosive. It begins on a Friday night. Production had wrapped for the day. The crew was still coiling cables, shutting down lights, packing the gear vans. Kody was at Janelle's house, the last place he wanted to be, and the first place he lost control. The pressure had been building like a boiler. Maybe it was money. Maybe it was resentment. Maybe it was the usual, Kody degrading Janelle's weight, her budgeting, her perfectly normal boundaries. But this time, Logan was there. And Logan wasn't the obliging firstborn anymore. He was a man, physically larger than Kody, intellectually miles ahead, emotionally fortified after years of raising his siblings while Kody ran between houses or hid out at Robin's. The theory goes like this. Kody escalated. Logan stepped between. And everything shifted. This was the moment the ecosystem of the Brown family broke. Because in the mythology that Kody built, you do not defy him. You do not interrupt him. And you certainly do not stand between him and a wife he's berating. But insiders swear that is exactly what Logan did. He put himself between his mother and Kody. A shield. A line in the sand. And Kody, fueled by ego and adrenaline, lost it. This is where the bandage theory comes into play. Where bruises, swelling, discoloration seen in later episodes suddenly make sense. Was there a shove? A grab? A slammed door? A broken glass? A wall punch? All we know is this. TLC wiped the audio. And then the police angle comes in. There is no official police report, but that doesn't mean no police came. In high-profile cul-de-sacs, especially when TV crews are involved, disturbance calls are often resolved quietly. Neighbors hear shouting. A 911 call is made. Lights flash. Officers arrive. Then the producers step in. Fixers. Damage control. Kody pacing, panting, red-faced, spinning his story. Logan in another room, calm, steady, possibly icing a hand or comforting his mother. Officers separating the parties, asking questions. TLC hovering like a nervous PR department, whispering to both sides that careers, contracts, and reputations are on the line. This is the moment the deal was forged. No report. No charges.
No headlines.
In exchange, Logan leaves the family structure silently. Not just for college, not just to grow up, but to escape. And his silence becomes the price of everyone's safety. This is why the goodbye scenes feel staged. Because they were. Pickup shots filmed days later, after the swelling faded and the lawyers drafted NDAs thick enough to choke a printer. Logan hugs Kody on camera, but it's hollow. It's stiff. It's the hug of two men who shared something dark that neither can speak of. Now look closely at the post-blackout footage. Janelle looks hollowed out, shaken to the core. Her mannerisms shift. Her tone shifts. She starts carving out independence. Saving money quietly. Building a life that no longer centers Kody's approval. This moment, this incident, was the seed of the woman she eventually becomes. Meanwhile, Kody spirals. His authority was challenged, and worse, challenged successfully. He couldn't punish Logan. He couldn't manipulate him. He couldn't guilt-trip him back under control. So he redirected his rage onto everyone still trapped in his orbit. The wives, the younger kids, anyone who couldn't leave. And this explains Logan's near-total disappearance from the show. He's at weddings, graduations, holidays, but he never engages, never sits on the couch, never allows the producers to bring him into emotional storylines. He is the ghost of the Brown Empire. The reminder of the night Kody lost his crown. Now, let's talk about the missing footage, the raw data from those 72 hours. Reality TV produces mountains of media, hard drives, backups, server logs. Even deleted footage isn't really deleted. But insiders claim the missing material from that weekend was never corrupted. It was removed. Physically. Stored in a legal office in Los Angeles in a sealed box marked Insurance. A silent threat.
A mutuelle destruction clause.
If Logan ever exposed the truth, TLC and Kody could claim he is lying, but Logan knows what's on the tape. If Kody ever endangered the remaining children, Logan could blow the entire structure apart with a single leak. They are locked in a silent Cold War. A standoff that has lasted more than a decade. And now we arrive at the cast or brace on Logan's hand. Season 6. Blink you miss it moments. His hand tucked in pockets. Hidden behind props. A soft brace. A bandage. No plot explanation.
No storyline.
No injury mentioned. Because that wound wasn't supposed to exist. It was part of the blackout. Part of the weekend the Brown family shattered. Part of the truth that TLC will never allow to air. Not unless the entire empire collapses. The show usually loves a medical storyline. Remember the dental surgeries? The scoliosis checkups? The endless health updates? If a Brown family member sneezed, TLC filmed it from 3 angles. So, why would they ignore an injury to their star firstborn son? Because this particular injury told a story they could never allow to air. A boxer's fracture, a sprained wrist from blocking, swollen knuckles from impact. That isn't Logan's going to college. That is Logan fought his father. So they hid it. They framed shots to cut him off at the elbow. Had him hold boxes with the other hand. Placed him behind furniture, behind siblings, behind props. It's quiet. It's subtle. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And the psychological fallout on Kody Brown cannot be overstated. Because in Kody's twisted worldview, he was the victim. Not the son who stood between him and the woman he was screaming at. Not the son who finally snapped after decades of parentification. No, Kody saw Logan's defiance as mutiny. A betrayal. The ultimate humiliation. And since he couldn't punish Logan, couldn't control Logan, couldn't court-martial Logan, he became paranoid. He started testing the loyalty of the other boys, Garrison, Gabriel, Paydon. Pushing them. Poking them.
Provoking them.
Waiting to see which one would pull a Logan. And when they did, when the boys in Flagstaff finally stood up to him, his reaction was instant and nuclear. He cut them off.
Why?
Because he was reliving the trauma of the blackout. The moment he lost control of his family in a way that could never be undone. The estrangement we see today is not new. It is a direct echo of that missing weekend in Vegas, the weekend TLC erased. This theory forces us to rewatch the entire series through a new... We weren't watching a quirky religious family navigate modern life. We were watching a cover-up in slow motion. A group of people desperately trying to hold a lid over a volcano that had already erupted. The smiles? Tighter. The laughs? Hollow. The eyes? Sadder, especially Janelle's. And every time Logan walked into a room, the oxygen disappeared. Kody puffed up, raised his voice, performed dominance. And Logan would just sit there, calm, steady, smiling that knowing smile. Because he knew he was the only person who ever defeated the patriarch. Now, let's talk about the fixers. TLC is not a small operation. They have crisis management teams. During the blackout, it wasn't just cameras that shut down. Phones probably shut down too. A full communication lockdown. Don't tweet. Don't post on Facebook. Don't call your SisterWives. Don't talk to your neighbors. Synchronize the story. Polish the lie. Protect the brand. Logan is fine. Logan is busy with school. Logan just needs independence. A narrative manufactured in a conference room. And that type of coordination only works through fear. Fear of cancellation. Fear of financial ruin. And for the wives, possibly fear that exposing violence might bring state intervention for the minors. That is enough to silence anyone. Now, the wall. In the episode immediately following the blackout window, Janelle walks down a hallway. Just for a single frame. If you pause at the right moment, the paint texture changes. A rough patch. A rushed repair job. In a new rental home, pristine and flawless, you do not patch drywall unless there is a hole. And how do holes appear at shoulder height? Someone punched it. or someone was shoved into it. That patch is the only physical evidence the editors couldn't scrub in time. The silent witness. The crime scene behind the reality show. You'll notice the entire move-out sequence is built around blocking that hallway. Boxes.
People.
Creative angles. Camera pans that conveniently turn just before the patch section. They weren't filming a move. They were filming around a secret. Now, the Robin factor. Where was the favorite wife during the missing 72 hours? Insiders say she made the call to producers. Janelle was in shock. Christine was in protective mother mode. But Robin? Robin was in PR mode. She saw opportunity, not danger. By presenting herself as the calmer, the mediator, the one helping Kody breathe, she consolidated her power. And she planted the seed. Logan is unsafe. Janelle's boys are out of control. They have anger issues. They might turn violent. This is where the Whisper campaign began. This is where the future Flagstaff protocols were born. The germ that eventually led to the boys' exile. The blackout wasn't just a cover-up. It was a coup. The moment power shifted from the family collective to the Kody Robin axis. Now, let's imagine the deleted footage. The tape locked in a Los Angeles legal vault.
Shaky handheld camera.
Crew uncertain whether to keep filming. Audio peaking with screams. Kody's face twisted with ego and rage. Logan's voice trembling but steady. You are hurting her. The camera drops. A thud against drywall. The same wall later patched. Janelle sobbing. A producer shouting. Cut. Cut now. Then black. That file exists. Time-coded. Cataloged. Forbidden. This brings us to the leaked Reddit post. A supposed editing assistant who claimed there was a do not use folder full of clips showing Kody using language that would get the show shut down instantly, including footage of a father cornering his eldest son in a kitchen. The post disappeared within hours. Screenshots survived. And suddenly everything fits. Because if the crew had to intervene to stop Kody, TLC becomes liable. And that explains the industrial strength NDA. The silence. The blackout. Now fast forward to Flagstaff. Kody demands apologies. Demands loyalty. Talks about disrespect. Talks about being betrayed. He isn't talking to Garrison and Gabriel. Not really. He's talking to the ghost of Logan. To the phantom memory of being overpowered in his own home. His apocalypse over COVID wasn't about germs. It was about control. He wanted the boys gone before they reached the strength, emotional or physical, to challenge him again. Let's jump to Logan's wedding. Everyone was smiling, but it wasn't joy. It was strategy. Kody was there, but as a guest, not a king. Logan was the man of the hour, the one with stability, a career, a wife, and a life built entirely outside Kody's shadow. The two men shared a moment, not affectionate, but cold. A treaty.
A mutually assure de destruction pacte.
Logan wouldn't expose the truth. Kody wouldn't provoke him again. So, why does the blackout matter? Because it solves everything. The family didn't drift apart. They blew apart. Violently. Instantly. And then the evidence was buried. The blackout is the Rosetta Stone of SisterWives. It explains the fear in Janelle's eyes. The stiffness of the laundry visits. The sudden emotional distance. The eruption in Flagstaff. The exile of the boys. The collapse of the family. Logan Brown is the hidden hero of this entire franchise. Not for what he did on camera, but for what he survived off camera. He took the hit. Protected his mother. Protected his siblings. And then walked away without burning the house down. He simply refused to live in it anymore. And through that act, he showed his brothers the truth. The patriarch had no power, except the power you handed him. The footage may be gone. Deleted. Locked away. Buried beneath a lawyer's office in Los Angeles. But we don't need to see it to know it happened. We see it in the patched wall. In the body language. In the estrangement. In the lies. The blackout failed. The truth leaked drop by drop, glitch by glitch. And now we know.
Stay tuned.
Stay curious. And remember, the real show begins when the cameras turn off.